This is Neural Newscast for Wednesday, April 8th, 2026.
Here is what matters this morning.
President Donald Trump announced a 2-week conditional ceasefire with Iran late last night. Pakistan mediated the agreement through the efforts of Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif and Field Marshal Asim Munir.
The deal was reached just 90 minutes before the deadline for scheduled American bombing operations. Iran submitted a 10-point proposal that includes the immediate reopening of the Strait of Hormuz to commercial traffic.
The Iranian Foreign Minister, Abbas Araghchi, confirmed that their armed forces will coordinate safe passage for tankers moving through the region. Trump described the breakthrough as a workable basis for long-term peace negotiations.
Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu stated that Israel supports the United States' efforts. However, he emphasized that the ceasefire does not apply to ongoing fighting against Hezbollah in Lebanon.
In other news, the IDF reported significant missile barrages targeting Tel Aviv and Haifa overnight, despite the diplomatic announcement. 4 people were lightly injured in Tel Sheva during those strikes.
Emergency services treated 15 additional individuals for anxiety following the sirens. Military officials state they are maintaining a high state of readiness across all northern and southern districts.
Turning now to the energy sector, global oil prices plunged 14% following news of the ceasefire. International stock markets also surged as the dollar retreated from recent highs.
The Energy Information Administration warns that fuel prices may stay elevated for months regardless of the reopening. Analysts are monitoring the impact of the 5-week conflict on domestic distribution networks.
Meanwhile, 15 vessels are currently waiting to transit the Strait of Hormuz as Iran begins coordinating safe passage. The backlog includes several large crude carriers that were stalled during the blockade.
A container ship reported an attack 25 nautical miles from Kish Island shortly before the ceasefire started. Maritime security teams are investigating the damage but report no casualties from the incident.
Next, Israeli authorities have detained 4 IDF soldiers on suspicion of conducting espionage for Iranian intelligence services. The investigation centers on the unauthorized sharing of sensitive military data during the conflict.
The military has also issued a directive for Iranian civilians to avoid using national railway systems. Officials cite security concerns regarding critical infrastructure as they transition to the 2-week pause.
Still, 3 people died in Istanbul following a gun clash near the Israeli consulate earlier this morning. Turkish police have cordoned off the area while they search for the individuals involved in the shooting.
Authorities have not yet established a motive for the attack or confirmed the identities of those killed. Diplomatic security around international sites in the city has been significantly increased as a result.
Here is what else we're watching. Saudi Arabia briefly halted traffic on the King Fahd Causeway before resuming normal operations. The closure was described as a precautionary measure to ensure regional border security.
The Prime Minister of Qatar issued a warning regarding Iranian drones tampering with regional security protocols. He noted that despite the ceasefire, unmanned aerial systems continue to monitor several sensitive maritime corridors.
For today's watch list, negotiators from the United States and Iran are scheduled to meet in Islamabad this Friday. This meeting marks the first formal diplomatic discussion since the ceasefire was announced.
Diplomats will use the 10-point proposal to address nuclear enrichment and the permanent cessation of hostilities. The world will be watching for signals that the 2-week pause can be extended.
We are also tracking the arrival of technical teams to help clear the shipping backlog in the strait. Managing the traffic of 15 stalled vessels will require close coordination between multiple naval commands.
The restoration of safe passage is expected to lower insurance premiums for commercial shipping in the Gulf. However, the presence of mines or debris from previous attacks remains a concern for safety officials.
Finally, the oil industry is monitoring a large slick from a bombed Iranian tanker near the Hormuz wetlands. Environmental agencies warn the spill could cause long-term damage to the regional ecosystem. Cleanup efforts are expected to begin once the ceasefire is fully implemented and security is verified. Specialists from neighboring states have offered assistance to prevent the oil from reaching sensitive coastal habitats. From Neural Newscast, I'm Hannah Whitmore.
And I'm Jonah Klein.
This has been Neural Newscast. Thanks for listening.
Neural Newscast is AI-assisted, human-reviewed. View our AI transparency policy at neuralnewscast.com.